Chapter 114, The Opponent's Bluff. The Middle Eastern guest had to look at Shen Yao with a different eye. He didn't expect her to be so rich, but that was for the best, since that meant their families were in the same class. My name is Joseph. Shen Yao didn't care what his name was. She just lifted her eyebrows and said, "Are you calling or not?" Joseph laughed, feeling that things were getting interesting. 20 million, he shouted and threw down 20 million in chips. No matter how much he put on the line, he thought the casino would make sure that he won it back, and that was why he was so fearless. The other two guys were still looking around. The wager was getting a bit big, and one guy finally folded after taking one last look at his hand. The other guy was still holding on, and he threw in 20 million as well. I call. When the dealer gave out the fourth card, just with the two cards revealed for each player, Joseph had the bigger hand. Of course, the overall value still had to include the two hidden cards in each player's hand, and that was the exciting part about this game. With a total of 5 cards, 2 hidden and 3 revealed, the players could begin raising their bet from the third card that was dealt revealed and see if it was worth gambling with the combinations one had. However, the opponents could also look at the revealed cards to guess what your best hand could be and then decide to call your raise or not. Very clearly, judging by the revealed cards, Joseph probably had the best hand. As for Shen Yao, her revealed cards were 5 and 8, which did not look good for her at all. But, Shen Yao smiled and threw in 50 million. I raise 50 million, who wants to follow? Joseph gave Shen Yao a glance, and then at the casino staff, laughing inside. This casino really thought of everything. In addition to giving me money, they even chose to let a beautiful girl be the delivery girl? Could this be the dessert the casino prepared for me? Right then, he looked at the dealer, but the dealer also didn't have complete confidence that he gave Joseph the best hand, so he only remained still and didn't give Joseph any signal. Joseph didn't care anymore. How could he allow a woman to ride on top of him like this? Besides, he was also trying to get into this girl's panties, so he couldn't admit defeat right now. He must let Shen Yao see that he was a very generous and rich guy. 50 million, I follow. Shen Yao laughed. At the same time, Su Cheng, who had been spectating, also laughed. This was why he needed a girl to help, a beautiful girl especially. At least a beautiful girl could get people to drop their guard and be less vigilant, since no one would expect the beauty to be so good at gambling and digging holes for others to jump in. The other player snorted and folded. When the dealer continued on to the 5th card, Shen Yao got a 7 of a different suit. Seeing this, Joseph and the dealer both smiled. In this situation, the best hand Shen Yao could get was a straight. But, that was only if her 2 hidden cards were a 6 and either a 4 or 9. Not to mention how slim the odds of getting a 6, but even if she got a 6, it was also very unlikely that the other card was a 4 or 9. So, Joseph thought that this girl was too cute, not knowing how to play at all. On the side, the other 2 players were all regretting that they gave up too early, seeing how easy this opponent was. Only Shen Yao knew that her hidden cards were exactly a 6 and 9, making her hand a straight. However, what really shocked Shen Yao was, how did Su Cheng know? Before her last card was dealt, her hand was really a mess, almost the worst kind of all. But, that 5th card was a 7 and actually connected all her other cards, making her hand a straight. If she could talk right now, she really wanted to ask Su Cheng through her earpiece, how did you know? In fact, Su Cheng already saw through all the cards on the table, and he also predicted what each player would be getting. He already knew that Joseph would get 3 aces, which wouldn't defeat Shen Yao's straight. But, for an experienced player, 3 aces were enough for him to take risks. One must say, Joseph was a man of courage. Su Cheng saw Shen Yao was a bit blank, so he reminded her through the earpiece, "Don't let your mind wander off. Hurry up and raise." Shen Yao came to her senses, but she was still a bit worried. She was scared that her straight might not be able to beat Joseph's hand. After all, straights weren't that high up on the list, and there were many hands that could beat hers. Feeling that Shen Yao was hesitating, Su Cheng reminded her, "Believe me, just raise however much you want and try to win as much as possible." Pouting her lips, Shen Yao pushed over 100 million yuan in chips. 100 million. The 2 players on the side that already gave up all took in a deep cold breath. They didn't expect the woman to play this big. "Beautiful lady, if you are playing like this, how could I have the heart to take your money? I'm scared that you will cry like a baby after losing." Shen Yao rolled her eyes at him and said, then you should fold. Joseph shrugged his shoulders. That's clearly not going to happen. I already put a lot of money on the table now. Shen Yao, aren't you very generous? Joseph deviously smiled. But no one doesn't like money, not even women are as attractive as it. Then, he pushed in another pile of chips. I raise 100 million with you. Without a second word, Shen Yao pushed in another 200 million. The dealer frowned, feeling that something was off. Logically speaking, if Shen Yao's hand wasn't a straight, then it would be completely useless. So, the most probable reason that she was still raising was because she had a straight. The dealer immediately looked towards Joseph, giving him the eye that was telling him not to follow. Seeing the dealer's signal, Joseph was suddenly stunned. What the hell is this? Wasn't this woman sent by you guys to give me money? Sir, if you are not calling, just fold. Shen Yao smiled. Joseph took another look at Shen Yao's revealed cards: a 5, a 7, and an 8. You have a straight? Joseph asked Shen Yao, trying to probe. Shen Yao laughed, if you are scared, then just fold. If she really had a straight, then Joseph would for sure lose. However, he already threw in so much money, was he really going to fold now? Immediately devising a new plan in this situation, Joseph immediately laughed, no matter how you play your hand, it's a straight at best, and a pretty average straight. You think I'm scared of straights? I'm in, 200 million. He decided to bluff, using high stakes to scare Shen Yao. Shen Yao's face slightly changed, and she became a bit nervous. Oh crap, he saw through my hand but is still not afraid? Should I still raise? At this moment, Su Cheng's voice came again. There's something in gambling called bluffing. He just wants to pretend that he saw through your hand and then scare you, because your hand is just too obvious. Anyone would know that the biggest hand you can have is a straight, and most likely you don't even have it. So, even if your opponent's hand isn't bigger than yours, they will try to scare you. Just listen to me, if he dares to follow, then you should just keep on going. It's my money if you lose anyways, why are you scared? Shen Yao suddenly came to a realization, and she calmed down. Hopefully, Su Cheng was right. Seeing Shen Yao hesitating, Joseph's smile became brighter. How about it, are you raising again? Shen Yao gritted her teeth, and then she said to the casino staff, I would like to get more chips. Raising.